Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar today. Next up we're going to talk about our Romanian solutions. They involve e-Invoice, e-Transport and SAF-T Processes. I'm joined again with Yavuz, who's our head of SAP, and he's responsible for all of these solutions. We'll go next slide please, Yavuz, perfect. On today's agenda, I'm going to basically take part of the Melasoft company introduction, and then Yavuz is going to take care of the e-invoicing and e-transport and SAF-T side of the presentation. Who we are, we're established in 2013 and we operate in the IT sector. Our headquarters are located in Frankfurt, Germany. We also have offices in Istanbul, Ankara and Warsaw in Poland. We do provide innovative solutions for transformation in various different countries, whether that's in Europe or Central Asia. We do have an SAP and non-SAP solutions. We're constantly expanding the scope of what we do. We're always making new innovative products. So yeah, we operate across areas. So here on this slide, you can just see our organizational structure. So we have SAP products and non-SAP products. We have research and development area. We also have a cybersecurity and information security unit as well. We have marketing and sales departments, finance and accounting, and also human resources section of our organization. Here on this slide, you can see our solutions and services. So we have multiple compliance solutions. We also have IT products as well, and we also do consulting services as well. Here you can see our compliance solutions that we offer to our existing customers and new customers. That consists of e-invoice, e-archive, VAT reporting, e-transport, waybill and dispatch. We also have virtual warehousing solution that we've done in Kazakhstan. We also have e-accounting slip, recycling fee declaration and intrastat reporting as well. And then on this slide, it gives a really good overview of where we operate exactly. So, you know, at the moment we're quite busy in Serbia, so you can see it on the map. We also are operating in Poland, and you know, on this map you can see sort of our initial stage of our product being there. It's in process, and then also it's at an advanced stage where we've got multiple companies that we work with in this country, in these countries. Alternatively to our solutions mentioned previously, we also have SAP GDPR solutions, SAP integration solutions, SAP financial solutions, SAP smart banking applications. We also do non-SAP solutions, which are fintech solutions, commercial solutions, and also we can develop new solutions from scratch depending on your requirements. Also, another side of our business where we always work in is the consulting side. So we're able to manage from a functional perspective. We can manage projects through SAP project consultancy, and you can see on the screen the modules which we focus on. Also SAP technical consultancy, so from ABAP to UI5 and Fury. We also do product development, so whether that's back end or front end. We also have created our own mobile apps before, so we have iOS and Android developers. We've also experienced in blockchain development and NFT development as well. So through these processes, these sections of our consulting services, we can offer all of these as well. And our website, for anyone that's interested and wants to look more into detail, you can find contact information and also a breakdown of all of our compliance and consulting services aspects of our business. And here, this is where Yavuz is going to take over. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bradley. As Bradley introduced, I am Yavuz Durdak, and I am the SAP team leader. Today, we will go over the e-invoicing, e-transport, and SAF-T solutions in Romania we will provide background information about these solutions, and also we will introduce the Melasoft solution for each of these areas. Now, let's start with the e-invoicing process. As you know, an invoice is a formal document that is issued by the seller or the supplier to a buyer that requests payment because of sale of goods or provision of services. On the other hand, electronic invoice has the same function. It is the electronic version of the invoice. It has the same function as the paper-based invoice, and it represents the official request for payment due to sale of goods and provision of services. Especially with the development of information technologies, most of the governments, most of the countries switch from the traditional invoicing system to the electronic invoicing system, and Romania is among these countries. In general, in the slide, the general invoicing workflow is introduced, illustrated for the companies that use the ERP solutions. In this process, first of all, the relevant invoice data should be extracted from the ERP system from different modules, depending on the invoice type, modules, SG modules, or FI modules. Then the relevant information should be used and mapped in electronic formats and some predefined formats such as XML or JSON formats. In each country, a different format can be applied. In Romania, XML format is used, so the relevant information extracted from the ERP system should be converted into XML format depending on the invoice type. After the electronic document is created, which is called the e-invoice, it should be submitted to the tax authorities for assessment. The tax authority assesses the document, and if it is validated, then the document, the e-invoice, is transmitted to the recipient in electronic format, again in XML format. If it is not validated, if there are some errors, these errors can be structural errors or information errors. So an error message is a response to the sender for correction. This is the general flow for e-invoicing process. Let me briefly talk about the legal background in Romania. The e-invoicing process started in 2021 with the government ordinance number 120, which establishes the basis and operational framework for the e-invoicing system. In the same year, another government ordinance 130, which clarifies the details about the new invoice regime, including the scopes and the deadlines. So the general structure of the invoices are structured by this government ordinance. In Romania, the raw e-Factură system, which is the IT protocol for reporting, storing, downloading of invoices through the servers of the Romanian tax authority, is used. So all of these e-invoicing operations are conducted by using this raw e-Factură system. So exchange of invoices within the public administrations, from the business to government, and between private to private companies, business to business transactions, are all conducted over the Romanian e-Factură system. Here you see the timeline for the e-invoicing in Romania. Starting from 1st April 2022, the B2C travel agencies are required to submit their invoices in the electronic format. And starting from 1st of July 2022, business to government and business to business operations for high fiscal products are included in this mandatory list. And starting from 1st of January 2023, it was planned to switch all of the operations, all of the transactions, business to business, business to consumer, and business to government operations to the e-invoicing system. However, this date is delayed, postponed. Probably it will be 2024, but it has not been announced officially yet. So at the moment, the companies can switch to the e-invoicing system. The companies can use the system without any problem. So currently, some of the companies may use e-invoicing solutions. As I said before, the raw e-Factură system is the official portal, and it can be accessible through virtual private space web page or the shared API application programming interfaces provided by the government system. So the users, the invoice issuers, can reach the system by using the web page. So if you have low traffic of invoices, you produce smaller number of invoices, then virtual private space is optional. However, if the number of invoices are large, then shared API applications should be used, and the ERP systems of the companies should be integrated with the government system in order to automate the invoice sending and receiving applications. To use the system, the commercial entities, first of all, should be registered to the government portal under their own name or the designated legal representative. And also the invoices should be issued considering the UBL 2.1 format. So this is the official format that should be used in creation of the e-invoices. Also, the invoices should be generated in XML format, and this format is defined by the raw CUS standard. So for each invoice type, a standard XML format is required, and these, the mandatory fields, the optional fields are available in this XML document. So the mandatory fields should be populated in order not to face with problems during submission to the government. Here you can see the general system infrastructure in Romania. At one side we have the invoice issuer, and the other side the invoice recipient. At the central point, the ANAF raw e-Factură system. The invoice issuer can use any ERP system. This can be SAP, Oracle, or any other ERP system. So the created invoices should be sent to the ANAF portal raw e-Factură system using the API services, using the UBL standard. The Romanian e-Factură system, on the other hand, gets the invoices sent by the invoice issuer. These invoices are validated using some synthetic and semantic validation tools. If these validations are confirmed, then an identification number is assigned, and also the signature of the Minister of Finance is applied to the invoice, and then the invoice becomes available for the invoice recipient. So the invoice recipient connects to the ANAF portal by using, again, API services, and then the invoices can be transferred to the recipient ERP system. This is the general framework. What are the main advantages of this system? First of all, it improves the business process efficiency, because if you use this system, you can access the documents much more faster, and you can send the documents more faster considered the traditional invoicing system. Additionally, as standardized invoice format is used and secure transmission lines are used, this form of transactions are more secure, and most of the operations and manual processes are eliminated. So the errors that are originated because of human error are minimized. So this system is much more efficient in terms of errors. Also, from the government perspective, as all of the operations are conducted over the system, then tax control process is optimized and tax collection is increased. So these are the main advantages of using the system. Currently, as Melasoft, we have a solution already developed for the Romania, and it is currently in use in live system. So it's a major product, and we can send and receive invoices from the government portal, and it passes the validation test without any problem. So our program is a major program and currently in use in companies. Now, let me briefly explain our solution. First of all, in this slide, you see the major components, the main components of our e-invoicing solution. We have two main cockpits, the outbound invoice cockpit and the inbound invoice cockpit. The outbound invoice cockpit is used for sending all required invoices to the government portal according to specifications defined by the government. So the mapping and creation of the XML file is done by using the outbound invoice cockpit. On the other hand, we have the inbound invoice cockpit, which is used for receiving the invoices from the government portal. We have some periodic jobs. These periodic jobs periodically visits the government portal, and if some new invoices are available, then they are transferred to the inbound invoice cockpit. So using outbound and inbound invoice cockpits, you can monitor all of the processes, and all of the processes can be controlled and managed by using the cockpits. For using these systems, we have application programs, periodic programs, and we have custom programs and tables. The application programs are used for reaching the end user programs, and also the periodic programs are used for updating the Melasoft cockpits. So the status of the invoices, and also if some new invoices are available, all of these jobs are done by using these periodic programs. Finally, we have custom programs and tables. Our solution is a general solution, so in order to customize this product according to needs of your company and your company structure, we use these custom programs and tables. Our solution is a flexible solution, so we can have different architecture alternatives. In this slide, these alternatives are summarized. First of all, our solution can be implemented as an SAP add-on, so it can be act as a part of SAP system. It can be installed in your SAP system as an SAP add-on, or a standalone solution is also possible. So if you have another ERP system other than SAP system, then our standalone solution may be more appropriate for your system. Additionally, we can connect to the government portal directly by using the API services, or we can connect over the integrators. If you use some integrators such as CPI, PIPO, or WSO2 layers, then we can communicate with the government portal over these integrators as well. Additionally, we have a gateway solution, so we may have an intermediate layer between SAP system and the government portal. Especially this gateway solution is more appropriate for the companies that have multiple operations in different countries. So using a single cockpit, you can communicate with different governments and different countries. So using the gateway solution is more appropriate for multi-country, multi-company cases. Additionally, our solution can be integrated, can be communicated with the invoice management system, especially if you use an invoice management system such as Vim, DMS, Kefron, or any other invoice management solution. Then our inbound invoice cockpit can communicate, can be integrated with these systems, and all status information regarding the invoice process flow can be monitored using the inbound invoice cockpit. So this integration is also possible. Additionally, for the incoming invoices, automatic posting to the ERP system or semi-automatic posting or manual posting options are available depending on the selected solution. So each of these alternatives can be implemented. Finally, we have single country and multi-country cases. If you have operations in different countries in Europe, then the multi-country solution may be more convenient for your company. Here, we provide some high-level system architecture of our solution for outgoing invoices. As I said before, our Melasoft SAP add-on, the main solution is an SAP add-on, and it works inside the SAP system. First of all, the transactions, the sales invoices, credit notes, corrective invoices, and auto-factura. These are the main invoice types that are used in Romania ANAF system. So once these invoices are created in your SAP or ERP system, then the relevant invoice data is collected from the relevant modules, and they are mapped according to standard XML format for each invoice type. The XML structure may change depending on the invoice type, so the mapping is done according to invoice type. Over the cockpit, you can monitor the invoices in different formats such as HTML, XML, and PDF formats. In order to control before sending to the government, you need to control the invoices, so you can use these options for controlling the invoice. So if you have some errors, then you can cancel the invoice from the portal before sending to the government side. If it is approved, then you can send to the government over the cockpit. These operations can be automated as well. For instance, the sending operation can be automated for some invoice types depending on client requirements. Additionally, over the cockpit, you can make status check. So when you send the invoice to the government side, you can track, you can monitor the status of the invoice in the government portal. You can download the invoice in different formats, including HTML, XML, and PDF formats. So this option is available. Additionally, you can email the invoice before sending to the government to your invoice email recipients. So this email option is also can be manual or automated as well. So for each invoice type which is needed, then the invoices can be sent to the recipients automatically using the information from SAP system. Finally, from the cockpit, you can add some attachments to the invoice. This attachment option is also manual or automated. If you want to use manual option, then using over the cockpit, you can manually add attachments to the XML file and send this invoice to the government portal, and the recipient can see these attachments when receive the XML file. Additionally, auto attachment option is also possible. For instance, if you want to attach the paper-based invoice to the XML file, then this paper-based invoice can be automatically attached to the XML file and sent to the invoice recipient as well. After sending the invoice to the government side in the ANAF portal, as I explained in the previous slides, there are some validation tools, and if these validation tools are approved, if the invoice is approved, then it is ready for recipient download. Otherwise, an error message is received, sent to the invoice issuer site, explaining the reason for the error. We have alternative architectures for outgoing invoices. In the previous one, we integrate with the government portal over the integrators, but a direct connection is also possible. So we can communicate your SAP system directly to the ANAF portal using the secure lines, and this connection is possible using the API services. Additionally, our Melasoft GaaS Gateway as a Service solution can be added as an additional layer between the government system and your SAP system. Finally, we may have the SAP standalone solution. So this solution is completely outside the ERP system. So the invoice information is taken from the ERP system in IDOC format, and the XML files are created outside the ERP system. However, in each architecture, the logic is the same. In addition to these architecture alternatives, if you have a different structure, then our solution is flexible and can be implemented for different alternatives as well. For the incoming invoice side, the structure is pretty similar. This time, the invoice issuer, the vendor, sends the invoices. When it is validated by the portal, it is available for download from the recipient side. As I explained again in the previous slides, we have periodic programs, and these periodic programs periodically checks the government portal whether new invoices are available or not. If new invoices are available, then they are downloaded to the Melasoft SAP add-on inbound invoice cockpit. In the inbound invoice cockpit, depending on the capabilities provided by the ANAF portal, these capabilities can be improved because from country to country they may change. Currently, you can control the XML files in PDF and HTML views are also possible. You can view the attachment if the invoice has some attachments, which is allowed in Romania ANAF system. So you can view the attachment. Also, the status monitor option is also possible. Finally, you can download or you can email the invoice to the email recipients as well as in the outbound invoice cockpit. For the incoming invoice case, we have of course, some alternative cases. For instance, if you have a vendor invoice management system or another alternative system, such as Vim, Kefron, etc., then our Melasoft inbound cockpit can communicate with this system. So all incoming invoices taken from the ANAF portal can be sent to this invoice management system, and the status information can be tracked over the system. So this integration is also possible. Again, GaaS solution, the gateway as a service solution as an intermediate layer between your system and the government system can be implemented. Finally, the standalone solution is also possible for the incoming invoice side. Here, the final architecture, the multi-country, multi-company case. If you are a global company acting in several countries under different company names, then you can use the single Melasoft e-invoice cockpit SAP solution. So depending on the company code, the solution recognizes the country and sends the invoice to the corresponding government portal. So using a single cockpit in all of the countries, in all of the companies, increases the efficiency significantly, because all the same solution and the same support options are used in terms of economic and financial terms. It is also more suitable. To summarize, what are the key features of Melasoft solution? As I explained, our solution is an SAP add-on, but it can be also a standalone solution. The SAP add-on works completely under the control of your company. So as long as your SAP system is secure, then the Melasoft solution is also secure. So it is fully under the control of your company. Again, in our solution, we use Melasoft namespace. So we do not need to modify the client SAP system. We do not need to modify the other objects that are used in SAP system, standard objects, etc. So this improves the operational efficiency. So when some system upgrades are done, our solution can be upgraded to the new system easily without any problem. Again, we have separate cockpits for incoming and outgoing invoices. These operations can be conducted by different departments, then different personnel, so separating these cockpits increases the efficiency significantly. Again, you can display the invoices in different formats. So for incoming and outgoing invoices, this increases the efficiency in document control. Our solution is flexible and it can be integrated with different systems, PIPO layers, VIM systems, DMS systems, etc. And also, all of the transactions, all of the actions in our solution can be authorized. So you can assign different personnel to different copies and different events. For instance, sending invoice to the government portal, this role can be assigned some specific personnel. So you can have the ability to authorize the transactions. Again, our cockpit has the ability to direct the incoming invoices to the responsible personnel. So once an invoice is arrived, then this invoice can be directed to the responsible personnel in the SAP system or outside the SAP systems are also possible. By using body outputs, you can make improvements in our solution. So if you have an ABAP team, then you may have some additional improvements in the solution. All of the operations are logged. In case of problems, you can visit these logs and solve the problem. Again, our solution is adaptable for different systems thanks to its modern and flexible architecture. The architecture options listed here are not the only options. So if you have different architecture, then we can implement this architecture to our solution. Finally, if you have a multi-country, multi-company case, then our solution can be implemented for different countries. So this increases the operational efficiency and also the financial benefits are more compared to the standard solution. In general, the project implementation stages are shown in the slide. As our solution is already implemented in Romania, and it is already in use, all problems are solved, so the solution can be implemented without any problem in a short period of time. So here you see the general stages of the project. First of all, we have a system analysis, the functional analysis phase on your system. Then we determine the customizations, the invoice type customizations, company code customizations, and tax code customizations. After these customizations are completed, then Melasoft e-invoice package is imported to your SAP system. After the system test, these tests are conducted by Melasoft team and also user acceptance tests. Once these tests are passed, then the invoice, the system can be transported to the live system. During this period, we also provide user trainings for technical users and also for end users based on service agreements, and also the relevant documentation, again, for users, end users, and for the technical staff is also provided at the end of the project. In general, the project can be implemented. Of course, it depends on the bureaucracy of your company, but excluding the waiting times for these operations, then the solution can be implemented in 3 to 4 weeks in Romania. Now, I will show some SAP screens from our solution. Here, you can see the main SAP Easy Access menu. From here, you see the application programs, the inbound and outbound copies, FI invoice creation program, and the logs programs, and also the periodic programs and customizations. So depending on the company, the customizations may change. However, this is the general structure of the main menu. Here you see the outbound cockpit. In the outbound cockpit, all created invoices are listed. So the invoices can be viewed in HTML, XML, and PDF views. You can add header notes to the invoice directly from the cockpit. This option is possible. You can make attachments. If attachment is needed, then attachment can be done manually over the cockpit. You can see the status history and also history of the document, who prepared, who approved, etc. All of these operations are available in these logs. So all of the columns in this screen can be customized, by the way. So the data, as long as the data is available in the XML file, then it can be shown on this page. So the order of the columns can be changed also based on your requirement. Once you make the relevant controls, then you can select the invoice and send the invoice to the government portal directly from this outbound cockpit. Also, by clicking on the check status button, once you send the invoice to the government site, then you can you can monitor the status of the invoice. Again, you can download the invoices in XML format and PDF format. Finally, if you detect some problems in the invoice, then using SAP invoice delete option, then you can delete the invoice from this cockpit before sending to the government site. Here you can see the XML file, an example XML file, and also the PDF file. This is in the format that is required by the government. So this is the general format. Here you can see the adding attachment option. By clicking the attach option, you select the attachments from your computer and you can add attachments to the XML file. These attachments will be visible to your client. However, one point should be clarified here. The size of the attachments is determined by the government, the size and the number of the attachments. So during adding attachments, these limitations should be considered. Here you see the inbound cockpit this time. All of the incoming invoices are transferred to this portal, to this cockpit from the government portal. Here in Romania, accept or reject option is not available, so all of the invoices are accepted. So after your controls, if you have some problems, then you may require from your vendor correction invoice, because correction invoice is possible in Romania. You can view XML file, PDF file, the information, attachments, all of these operations are possible in our cockpit. Also, this cockpit can be integrated with your ERP system, with your SAP system. So the automatic booking option or semi-automatic booking options are also possible from this screen. Also, if you have a vendor invoice management system, then this cockpit can also be integrated with your vendor invoice management solution, and you can track and you can monitor the status of the invoice in your vendor invoice management system. Again, you can view the invoices in different formats. This is all for the e-invoice solution. Now let's come to the e-transport solution. We will again provide some general information, the overview of the process in Romania, and provide some system infrastructure and the advantages of the system. Similar to e-invoice, waybill is a document that is used in shipping and logistics, which provides detailed information about a shipment. So the information, the sender information, the receiver information, the contents of the shipment, the transportation mode, or any other information can be contained in the waybill, depending on the regulations of the government. And e-waybill, as e-invoice, is the digital form of this document, and it contains the same information and has the same function as the traditional waybill. So e-transport system legal regulations started with Government Ordinance 28 in 2019. With this ordinance, the e-waybill system replaced the traditional paper-based system for documenting the transport of goods. In 2022, with the Government Ordinance 41, tracking the road transportation for high tax risk goods is regulated, and for high tax risk goods, the use of e-transport system becomes mandatory. In Romania, this system is called raw e-transport. It is again managed by the National Agency for Fiscal Administration, which is the ANAF portal. In order to use this raw e-Factură system, a transport system, you need to register to the ANAF portal and obtain a digital certificate before starting to use the system. So again, a registration is needed, and also the digital certificate is a must. The timeline for the e-transport is shown in the slides. Starting from 1st of January 2022, e-transport system, e-transport reporting become mandatory for national road transport operations in Romania. And starting from 1st of January 2023, e-transport become mandatory for international road transport operations with origin or destination in Romania for high tax, high fiscal risk products. Here you can see the list of products. If you sell or purchase or buy these products, then you have to use e-transport system, because they are contained in the high tax risk product categories. These categories are mainly vegetables, plants, foods, alcoholic beverages, soil products, clothing and clothing accessories, footwear, and iron and steel products are listed in these high tax risk product categories. So here you can see the scope of a transport system. These operations, if satisfies this origin or destination pairs, then you have to use a transport system. What are these operations? If the transactions are between, if the logistic transportation is between two locations within the Romania, or intra-community purchases from the European Union countries, the purchases from the European Union countries, or the deliveries to the European Union countries are also included. The imports and exports to other countries are also included, and also relating to intra-community transits where goods in transit in Romania. So in transit in Romania, goods are also within the scope of this system. And also there is a restriction for the vehicles. First of all, the maximum authorized mass of at least 3.5 tons of vehicles are within the scope. Also, these vehicles should be loaded with high tax risk goods that have a total gross mass of more than 500 kilograms. So if you have a vehicle that has a higher mass than 3.5 tons, and also it carries more than goods that are more than 500 kilograms, then you are within the scope. Additionally, there is the monetary value. If the total value is more than 10,000 lei, then it is also within the scope of a transport system. Another question at this point is who is required to report this document? Depending on the transportation type, the responsible body may change. First of all, the consignee indicated on the import custom declaration is responsible. For the export case, the exporter indicated on the export custom declaration form is responsible. For the intra-community purchases, the consignee in Romania is responsible for declaration, and for the domestic transactions or intra-community deliveries, the supplier in Romania is responsible for the declaration. So the declaration issue is also critical. Who will declare the e-transport system? Now, let me briefly go over the system. Again, similar to an e-invoice system, structured XML files are used for different, of course, for different invoice, for different transportation types, different XML structures are formed. So, depending on the transportation type, the data is changed. So, the general information, the sender and the recipient of the goods, the characteristics and the value of the transported goods, the loading and locations, and the information on the mode of transportation is usually included in the XML file. Also, as I said before, depending on the transportation type, some additional fields may also be required in the XML file. So, how to declare the process? First of all, transportation of high tax risk goods should be declared within a maximum of 3 days before the movement of the goods. So, you have to declare to the transport system before 3 days before the movement of the goods. Once you declare to the government side, a UAT code is generated. For what this code is used, it uniquely identifies the goods. And it can be requested up to 3 days before the transportation date, and it is valid for 5 days from the transportation date. So these dates are important. You can request before 3 days the transportation date. Also, it is valid 5 days after the transportation date. It is used especially during the controls. So the UIT code must be clearly legible on the transportation of goods documents, because during the controls, this code is checked and it is monitored by the responsibles, so it is critical. Here you see the general overview of the e-vehicle process, transportation process. First of all, the transportation company should be registered to the ANAF SPV portal and obtain a digital certificate. After this stage, the e-vehicles can be generated. For generation, we will show in the next slide, there are different options that are available. So using one of these options, the e-vehicles can be created electronically. They can use own software or third-party software or ERP solutions. And then after the e-vehicles are generated according to the rules and regulations, then they are submitted to the ANAF portal, or whether online or offline tools. In the ANAF portal, there is a verification process as in the e-invoicing. If the e-vehicle is verified, then a UAT number is assigned, which is required at various checkpoints during the transportation. And also, this UIT number is used for monitoring the transportation process to detect fraud. So if the verification process is failed, then an error message is received by the transportation company from the ANAF portal. Alternative systems are possible for creation of the e-waybill. First of all, you can use ANAF own e-waybill system over the SPV portal, especially if you are a transportation company with a small volume. Then this option can be implemented, so you can generate your e-waybills over the government portal. Additionally, there are some third-party software that are approved by the ANAF, so this third-party software can also be used for generation of the e-waybills. Also, some mobile applications are also available. These are iOS-based or Android-based applications, so these tools can also be used. However, if your company has an ERP system and you have a high volume of transportation, then you have to use built-in solutions, built-in e-waybill functionality in your ERP system. So you have to connect your ERP system with the government system. So you have to create the e-waybills that are generated in your ERP solution. Here, we have two alternative solutions. In the first alternative, we have an SAP add-on solution. Similar to e-invoice solution, this Melasoft SAP Add Transport Cockpit operates within the SAP system. It's an SAP add-on. So once an e-waybill is created in your SAP system, then the XML file, the corresponding XML file is created in the outbound, in the Melasoft Transport e-transport cockpit. Of course, depending on the transport type, for each transport type, different XML structures are required. So considering the transport type, different mappings are applied in order to create the XML file. And then the created XML file can be sent to the ANAF portal using the services of the government. Once the ANAF portal validates the invoice, then a UAT code is received, and this UAT code is added to the document. So the UAT code is used during the transportation in case of some in-transit controls. In addition to Melasoft SAP add-on solution, we also have a Melasoft e-transport standalone solution, which can be communicated with any ERP system. So we get the information from your ERP system in the IDOC format, and using this information, we create the XML files outside the ERP system and submit to the government portal. And in the same way, if it is validated, then we get the UAT code and add it to the document. So both of these options are possible. Again, this solution is already implemented in Romania and currently it is in use. So we can communicate with the government portal. We can create different XML files for different transportation types without any problem. Of course, there are some advantages of using this transport system. First of all, the mandatory e-waybills increase the efficiency and transparency of the transportation process because all of the stages of the process can be monitored. So it reduces the risk of fraud and tax evasion, especially from government perspective. Again, it provides real-time monitoring and it results in better coordination and planning of logistic activities, and it ensures the timely delivery of goods. With the increased automation, especially if you integrate your ERP system with the government portal, then you can benefit from automatic verification, automatic alerts for discrepancies and errors, and automatic reporting options. This reduces the workload and it improves the accuracy and reliability of the transportation process. Finally, it simplifies the procedures because all of the processes in e-transport system are simplified and standardized. So they are well documented, reported, and they can be controlled, reduces the administrative burden, and also you produce the e-waybills according to the regulations without any problem. These are the general advantages of the air transport system. So we come to the final topic, the Melasoft SAF-T solution. Again, we will provide some background information and we will talk about our Melasoft solution for the SAF-T process. As you know, SAF-T is the standardized electronic format for collecting and exchanging accounting data between the taxpayers and the tax authorities. So to exchange the tax information between the taxpayers and the governments, this SAF-T process is implemented in most of the European countries. It's a digital file, by the way, and it contains all accounting records that are required for tax compliance, including the invoices, receipts, and other related financial transactions. All of these documents are included in this digital file. What is the purpose of SAF-T? First of all, it streamlines the tax reporting process. Again, as the system is automated, it reduces the administrative burden on taxpayers, and also it improves the tax compliance with timely and accurate information. In this slide, you see the legal background for the SAF-T process. The process starts with in 2015 with the Law 207, which regulates the procedures for collection and payment of taxes in Romania. And in the same year, another order is published, which establishes the technical specifications for the SAF-T reports that includes the mandatory fields and data formats in the XML file. And also in 2016, another order is published, which establishes the procedures for submitting SAF-T reports to the tax authorities, including the deadlines and the requirements for the electronic signatures. Finally, in 2019, with a new order, it amends the technical specification for SAF-T reports, and it makes some updates in the mandatory fields and data formats. So this is the general legal framework for the SAF-T process in Romania. Here in this slide, you see the timeline for the SAF-T process. The SAF-T process became mandatory starting from 1st of January and 1st of June 2022 in two phases for large-scale companies in two phases. And starting from 1st of January 2023, medium-scale companies have to use this SAF-T process for reporting their tax. And finally, the small taxpayers and the non-resident companies will use the system starting from 1st of January 2025. This is the general timeline for the process. SAF-T process, similar to other e-invoice and e-transport processes, it has some phases. As you see in the slide, the preparation phase, all necessary data is collected. First of all, you have to understand the requirements, what is required by the report, which data is necessary. So after the requirements is determined, the necessary data is collected, validated, organized, the consistency checks are done, and then VAT compliance are done, and the data is prepared. After preparation of data, we pass to the creation phase. In creation phase, usually some software tools are used for mapping the data according to predefined standard formats for creation of the SAF-T file in XML format. After creation of the file, then the validation stage starts. In the validation stage, you use some validation tools in order to find the errors in the documents. If there are some errors, then you have to revalidate, you have to correct and revalidate the documents. After validation process, then the file is submitted to the government. Of course, after submission, you have to check whether it is accepted or rejected by the government side, so you have to also track the submission process. Finally, the confirmation. Confirmation is the verification process. In order to complete the process, you have to pass all of these 5 stages of SAF-T process. In Romania, 3 different reports are possible within the scope of SAF-T. The first one is the SAF-T monthly or quarterly report, which is the D406. This document, this report is required monthly or quarterly, depending on the turnover of the taxpayer. So depending on the turnover layer, you have to monthly or quarterly report this report. Also, what's the content of this report? This report contains all financial transactions during the reporting period, of course. What are these financial transactions? The sales, purchases, and other income and expenses are all included in this file. So all of this information should be compiled and mapped in XML files and submitted to the government in the form of this XML format. The deadline for the submission is the 25th day of the month following the reporting period. For instance, we are in April, so for reporting, assume that we have a monthly report, then this report should be sent for this month in the following, in May, 25th of May. So this is the deadline for submission. The second report type is the annual report, which is the 406 asset report. As the name suggests, it is an annual basis report. It has to be submitted annually. What is the content of this report? The fixed assets for the reporting period is considered in this report. So the acquisition date, purchase price, depreciation method and rate, and also tax depreciation expenses are all included in this report. Again, this report should be submitted in the predefined XML format. For the deadline for the submission, it is the 21st of January of the following year. So in order to submit the SAF-T annual report of this year, we have to send the report until 31st of January of 2024. Finally, we have the SAF-T on request report. This report is again, the frequency of submission is the upon request. So upon request, then this report is prepared. It is not a periodic report, it is prepared upon request. This report includes the information regarding the inventory at a specific point in time, including the quantity, value, and location of the items. Again, it should be submitted in the standardized XML format. The deadline for the submission is also determined by the tax authorities, so the deadline depends on the tax authorities for this report. Each report has a different function. The SAF-T monthly, quarterly reports all financial transactions. SAF-T annual reports is a summary report for the assets, and the SAF-T on request report is a summary report for the inventory. So the XML file has different fields, has different mandatory fields, and has different information requirements. So depending on the report type, the mandatory information changes, and this information, the main headings of this information are listed in this slide. Here you see the SAF-T process solution process flow in Melasoft solution. At Melasoft, we have already implemented SAF-T solution in different countries. In general, the process is as on this slide. First of all, Melasoft add-on solution captures the data required by the government. So for each report type, different information requirements there are different information requirements. So this data is collected from the SAP system. Then the structured data files in SAF-T D0406 reports formats are created according to needs of the company. Then after the XML file is created, then this XML file should be validated by using the DUC integrator, which is a validation tool proposed by the government. So this tool is used for validation of the XML file. After the XML file is validated, then together with the XML file, a PDF document is also created by the DUC integrator tool. Then after the signing, the PDF file and the XML file is submitted to the ANAF after this stage. So this is the final stage of the submission. Here you see the general system infrastructure, Melasoft SAF-T solution high-level architecture. First of all, using the data sources for the financial transactions, fixed assets, and inventories at specific points in time, using these data sources from the SAP system, Melasoft SAF-T solution creates the corresponding SAF-T report. Again, over the cockpit, you can monitor the file in XML format, you can download it or you can email it. So the XML files, the created XML files can be downloaded, and using the DUC integrator, then this file is validated, signed using the digital certificate, and finally the PDF file and the XML file should be submitted to the ANAF portal. So this is the general process flow and general high-level architecture for Melasoft solution for SAF-T. This is the end of my presentation. We go over the e-invoicing process, e-transport process, and SAF-T processes in Romania. and also we provide information regarding our Melasoft solution. As we explained, as Bradley and I explained, our solutions are already in use in several companies, in several countries. So if you want to have more detailed information, if you need some demo representations, or if you have different architecture alternatives and you want to get information about these alternatives, then you can get in touch with us over the contact information listed in the slide. So we can schedule a demo representation, or we can schedule a specific meeting for your company as well, and we can provide more detailed information about our solutions. The other solutions, of course, you can visit our websites for the other solutions for the details. So this is the end of presentation. If you have questions or comments, then we can answer.
Yeah, and thanks a lot, Yavuz. Yeah, that was quite detailed as well. Yeah, and just before we answer the questions as well, basically the plan is for next month as well, we're going to do a webinar regarding France as well. So we'll invite everyone as well to attend this. Further information regarding Romania. So obviously we're quite active in Romania at the moment. We're working with a couple of companies, and we've implemented e-Invoice. Also, we're quite experienced on the e-transport and also the SAF-T processes. So yeah, if there's any interest, you can see the emails on the slide. You can get in touch with us. And also, if you need the slides themselves, we're happy to send them directly to you after this webinar as well. Is there any questions, Yavuz?
Yes, we have some questions. Let me start from the first one. This question is related with the e-invoice package. It says, how do you prevent errors in e-invoices? As I explained during the presentation, during the creation of the invoices, for each invoice type, we have a different XML file, XML structure, because the fields, the mandatory fields may change from invoice type to invoice type. So for each invoice type, we have a different mappings. We have a customization table that maps the invoice type created in your SAP system together with the invoices in government system. So we have a matching, and according to this matching, we create the XML file according to corresponding XML file structure. During this creation, we have some controls, the schematic controls, and also we check the contents. So in terms of structural and also contents, information contents, all of the checks are done. So as long as the fields are not empty, as long as all of the fields are populated in the SAP system or the ERP system, our created invoices will not be turned back from the government system, because it completely satisfies the XML file structure. All mandatory fields are included. So as long as these fields are not empty, then this invoice will be sent to the government portal without any problem. However, in some cases, there may be some cuts in government services, or there may be some problems in the API services. However, these are not related with our solution. In these cases, you can resend the invoice again when the when the problems are solved. So we have another question. How do you view the invoices that are submitted by the customers to the ANAF portal? Actually, we also have an explanation regarding this question also. As I said before, we have some periodic programs. These periodic programs constantly, of course, the period may change because it's a customization. So if you have a company with a high volume of invoice, you constantly create and receive invoices, then this period can be very small. For instance, you can check the government portal in every 5 minutes. Or if you have not that much traffic, then it can be increased 1 hour, 2 hours, etc. So according to periods identified, our periodic programs go to the ANAF portal using the government API services. And if some invoices are available in our inbox, then these invoices are transferred to the Melasoft cockpit. So this is the main method that we use. So during the submission or receiving process, you do not need to do a manual process. All of the process is automated. The periodic jobs constantly check the status and also the new invoices. So you can, when they are available, you can see on the cockpit. However, you can manually also update these invoices. For instance, you are using the inbound cockpit and you want to check the portal status in real time, then you can use the refresh button and you can update the invoice status in real time as well. This option is also possible. Yes, another question is also, as it is related with the authorization, how you authorize the transactions in your solutions. Again, as I explained in e-invoicing and e-transport parts and other solutions, we use our own namespace in our solutions. So our solutions are transferred to your SAP system or the ERP system under the Melasoft namespace. So the solution, the namespace does not contradict with the standard SAP applications or your customized objects. So in terms of consistency or in terms of problems, you will not face with problems in terms of objects. On the other hand, we have an authorization object which can be used for authorizing all of the actions in our inbound, outbound copies or other programs. So all of the transactions can be assigned. Some transaction rules can be formed, some transaction or role scenarios can be formed, and these roles can be assigned to specific personnel. This is possible in our solution. So depending on your organizational structure, you can assign different personnel for SAF-T process, for e-transport process, for e-invoicing process, incoming and outgoing invoices, etc. Different personnel can be added for different transactions. So these personnel can only see and conduct the corresponding transactions. So in terms of authorization, we satisfy this condition also in our solutions. So there are similar questions, and we actually already answered some of the questions. I think this is all. If you have some additional questions or comments, please send us via mail, or you can also call us. We can provide more detailed information regarding our solutions, and also we can have live demos for our systems. So we can provide more detailed information about all of these processes. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you on the next one for France. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.